Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Northwest Geology Guy. Uh, Today, we're just going to have a little chat, talk about things that I've been up to, what I'd like to do. Um, just some simple chat, a little more relaxed than normal. So you should hear the less stress in my voice. And today, I'm showing you a map from a site I found, which has been really helpful for me trying to find a spot to go prospect in, and it's called the Diggings or Diggings. Um, it shows you all kinds of detailed things. It shows you the map all over the place, and at least for the United States, I'm not sure. I haven't tried to look worldwide or not, but we lived right down around here in Renton, Washington, a little south of where Ben Furiolo lives, my good buddy, and it's been really helpful. And one thing I'd like to just touch on briefly is I knew a lot about geology, but geology is kind of like a field of, say, doctors, where you have a cardiologist, you have a urologist, proctologist, where everybody specializes in different fields. And I was kind of concentrating more on the earthquake faults, basic terrains, the subduction zone, the Cascadia subduction zone, and things like that. But I never really got into like the minerals and mining aspect. And I'm still not into like oil and gas. That just doesn't interest me at all. Plus, I don't have that kind of money to go out looking for oil and get natural gas. But I had one trip last week. It kind of wasn't very profitable, except for me and my son had a wonderful time. Like I'll tell you that in my last video, but I was able to identify the problem. Instead of having soil and river rock to pan, I ended up with nothing more than river rock and just a ton, I mean a ton, of glacial till. And what till is, if you missed my last video, is where the glaciers on the mountain are coming down, and they're so extremely heavy that it grinds the rock on the side of the mountain where it's coming down into a coarse type of sand. To me, it looked basically like your regular beach sand here, the granitic with some feldspar and mica in it. But those are like common minerals you find in granite. And it just really kind of ruined the trip for prospecting. But man, it was brought back a lot of childhood memories. I was right across the river from my uncle's house that I visited many times when I was a kid. And thank God my cousin, my uncle's youngest, took over the property after my uncle died. My aunt died a long time ago. And he still owns the property. I didn't even recognize it. He remodeled it and added new structures, removed other structures, drove right past it. I thought, well, that was the third time I passed crossed over the river. That should have been his place. So me and my son turned around, came back, and sure enough, that was his place. Nobody was home, but I figured out that was his place. But the spot on the river that I was going to go to was just walk through his yard like I did when I was a kid, go in the back, walk through the little bit of underbrush and stuff at the beginning of the forest, and end up at the river. You know, nice running river, about 25 feet of gravel, heavy, river gravel there, and had a really good time digging under the gravel and at the edge of the river. We couldn't even get back there. It's been overgrown with some kind of bamboo. I don't know if it was Japanese bamboo or something like that. I can't remember what kind of bamboo, but it really just blocked off the river completely. So we went across the bridge and went down the side of the river. That was actually pretty steep, and I have a lot of joint pain and arthritis. I'll be 59 in a little over a month. And that took a lot out of me, but man, we had a really good time. But I've been on this map here trying to find a spot. It shows, let me show you over here. These are mining claims, and let's zoom in so you can see it. They're little squares, and you click on a square, and it pops up and tells you where it's at. And don't worry, it was kind of confusing for me too. I never heard of all this, but when you're looking to file a claim on a property, you need to get the paperwork from the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, and you have to enter in all this kind of information. I didn't know where the heck I was going to find this out in the middle of the forest and mountains. How are you going to find all this information? But I found a little way to cheat. If you go out and first you got to make sure it says closed. You don't want to be going on anybody else's mining claim. That's called claim jumping, and that's theft. And you don't want to get shot. You don't want to get thrown in jail for it. So I strongly suggest you only go on public lands that are open, or any public land that has a claim on it that says closed. And you can go through the information here, scroll down, and it'll tell you all the actions. Here's the 2 claims in this area here, because it's divided into 4. And when you come back up here, it shows you what section it is. It's the Northwest Quarter section, and the T stands for township, and it gives you all this information that you have to enter in on the paperwork. And then you draw a square with 4 squares in it, and you mark on the one that is yours. You draw a little map of what the thing looks like. If it's a river, it's going diagonally, you square it out there. Off the top of my head, you get 20 acres per claim, generally speaking. You can have it reduced down if there's some restrictions, like, say maybe something like residential area or some commercial area, and you don't need to go in there, or you're not allowed to. They can reduce it down and call that's a patented claim. But it's really neat. It's really helpful here. It gives you the information that I would be really pressed to find somewhere else. But, you run the risk of, say, okay, that's in a really good spot here. There's been a lot of gold there found. And so you fill out your paperwork, send it off to the BLM. And for the state of Washington, our office is in Spokane. But a lot of our mining districts and stuff like that is being managed out of Oregon. I don't know why, but that's something new to me. But I called the lady over there because I was interested in the claim, and she sent me out paperwork and stuff to look at, explaining, as a newbie, kind of gives me the info to help me get started. But, you have to pay a maintenance fee every year to keep the claim active and in your name. It's not real expensive. I think it's like a little over $100 a year, which is not very expensive if you are actually retrieving valuable minerals from it. So, but a spot over here, this is from the USGS. Now this tells you, I'm still kind of figuring this out, but in that area there, its primary commodity is copper. It's a mine. It doesn't tell. Copper usually is below ground. You don't usually find it at a surface mine. And it does tell you a lot of times, is it a placer operations, above ground, surface. And let me try to find something like that. It'll tell you. But they have some really good information. Just take that one here. And see, here's the information it gives you. Okay, here the maintenance fee is $165. This is a serial number that if you're inquiring to the BLM about, you give them the whole serial number. This one says it's active, so you don't want to go on this. This is somebody's that's actively mining it. It's a lode claim, so that's a hard rock type mine. And where they have to chisel it out of and blow it, dynamite it with dynamite to get the ore out, and then they grind that up, process it, and screen all the excess rock out, and just take them the gold or silver, in this case copper. I don't know if many of you guys are into this. Let me know what you think about it, because I could do a lot more videos on this too. This is going to be a really good hobby for me. Get me out, get me some exercise for this old man, and maybe it will help my arthritis and stuff, getting more physical and stuff. I'm going to be trying to scoping out places not too far away from me that will have easier access. I really don't want to get hurt down in a river somewhere and have to have a river rescue to get me out. That's the kind of attention I really don't want. But this is kind of just an overview of this. If you guys are going to go here, and I'll put a link in the description box, but if you guys are interested in this and not understanding something, always feel free to leave a comment, ask me a question. I'm always good about getting back to you guys as fast as I can. Let's see here. Another thing I wanted to kind of bring up, I know one of my regulars mentioned to me that I should get compensated for all the time I put in researching this, and I thought, yeah, you know what, I kind of wanted to stay, free to everybody and stuff like that, but, there is costs incurred, like when I go out on a venture out in the field to look for something, to try to bring some photos back, or like last week I drove about 180 miles round trip, and things like that, and I bought a lot of equipment to go out with, but I don't know. I'm kind of lukewarm to the idea, but it would be very helpful for me since I'm not really a rich guy at all. But if I was to do something like that, I'd probably sign up on Patreon and let you guys give me either a one-time donation, or sign up like I do for AskJeffWilliams.com. He's a miner and a geologist, and I know he clowns around a lot and talks to a skeleton, and stuff like that over the Old West. But it's really a fun channel, and I just got through listening to one of his channels, and he was like extremely serious, talking about geology and where the 5 spots to find gold in New York. And I signed up for a $10 a month pledge with him, and he's real big. He's got like 140,000 subscribers. I know it isn't really huge, but a lot of people sign up for his Patreon, and he gives like a free metal detector out a month, some pretty nice ones too, some bags of pay dirt from some of his mines. He'll go in the mine, and there's a drift he's got going there. That's just following where the gold takes you. And he metal detects, finds like 4, 5, 6 targets. He'll mine all that out, put it in a bag, and give it to one winner, or take each piece of gold that he finds. Sometimes they're pretty good sized nuggets. Somebody got almost a full ounce nugget out of there, and he'll draw names out of the barrel and send gifts out. He gives away an awful lot, and he lives right around Vegas somewhere out in the boonies, and a couple times a year, or a few times a year, you can pay to go mining with him. He either does hard rock mining tours, or he does the placer tours, where you go out with your metal detectors and find as much gold as you can find. You get to keep everything on both tours. With the hard rock, everybody works as a team. They refine recovery, all the gold out of it, and then he separates it at the end, and everybody gets an equal share of the take. So, which I think is pretty cool. That way, maybe some old guy can't work as hard as a younger kid, but everybody shares equally because you're working as a team. But that's something I would do, be interested in, maybe, is doing a Patreon, if enough of you guys are willing to donate. And I know it makes it feel like I'm begging, and I hate that, but let me know what you guys think. I'll let you guys decide if I should or not. So let me know, and I'll get back to you. And as always, I hope you guys have a great day. Please remember to subscribe, hit share, and leave me a comment. I love to hear what you guys have to say. So I'll see you next week. You guys take care and have a great night. All right, bye-bye.